Hi friends, it's Paul Ward and welcome to another On the Road, a special Farm Talk edition. Well, do you ever wonder where your mushrooms come from and how they're grown? There also seem to be so many varieties today. Our next guests, Levi and Kalynn Mobley, seem to have all the answers. You guys are with Deep Creek Mushroom in Apple Valley, California. Welcome to On the Road.
Thank you for having us.
And we want to thank our sponsor, Opus Escrow. So tell us, guys, where are we and what kind of room are we in?
So we're in Apple Valley, California. We're in our mushroom farm right now. It's an urban farm. So right now we are in a small warehouse. It's just under 1,400 square feet. And we are in the upstairs portion right here where we actually incubate our mushrooms, where they essentially are waiting to be put into the area where they will actually fruit real mushrooms.
And you guys are doing pretty much everything and anything you can with mushrooms. You're growing for food, for farmers markets, but you're also creating supplements.
Yep, absolutely. So we first got into it just by growing the mushrooms themselves. As I started to look more and more into these and begin to understand them, I found that there's so many medicinal properties, and we started experimenting them with ourselves. And, we have some family members that have some autoimmune disorders, things like that. And then we found that the mushrooms actually made a profound difference. And so from that, and then actually with their growing popularity, enough customers were asking us to begin to have some supplements and things that they could take. Because, in today's day and age, people rather take their carrots in a capsule than eat the carrot. And so it's kind of that kind of a thing.
Interesting. And you're growing multiple varieties, right?
Yeah, right now.
Like your typical mushroom that you'd see on a pizza.
No. So actually, we don't grow anything that you would commonly, get. We don't grow portobellos. We don't grow button caps. We don't grow creminis. Right now, I believe it's 16 varieties, right? Yeah. Well, so I think we're growing 16 varieties right now. Every year, it seems like we add a few more and take some away. Yeah.
Now, what would be the varieties that people would hear about?
Yeah. So probably our most popular right now is lion's mane. A lot of people are really, that kind of took the internet by storm because a lot of evidence came out for it being so good for mental health, mental clarity, reducing brain fog, things like that. But it also is just a really delicious mushroom, which makes it very popular. The texture is very crab-like.
Interesting. And you guys are hitting up local farmers markets?
Yes. So we are in 5 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in 5 farmers markets every week. Everything in the San Bernardino County area is predominantly, where we're at, as well as we do one grocery store right now in Redlands, and we have a couple of restaurants, and we're trying to really grow that side of the business now and get into more restaurants in the culinary scene.
Nice. And we're surrounded by plastic bags filled with material. What's going on?
Yeah, so specifically behind us, this is our Reishi. This is another medicinal variety. So this mushroom is very different than like what you'll see downstairs where they're growing and they need this very complex environment. Our reishi can actually just grow right in this environment right here. It's its own little microclimate. And this is actually the mushroom. So this is what it grew from, and these little antlers or extensions coming off of it are the mushroom itself. And this is another one. This is actually my personal favorite medicinal mushroom. This one is very good for... it lowers cortisol, the stress hormone, deeper night's sleep, things like that. It's the only mushroom we grow that is not culinary. You can't eat this mushroom.
Okay.
And so it's very dense.
So this is strictly for the supplement market?
Yeah. So this actually has a 4,000-year medicinal history.
Really?
Yep. So coming predominantly from Asia, Japan and China, and they have a very complex... So it's one of the most studied mushrooms because there's such a long lineage of its use.
So speaking of supplements, lion's mane, turkey tail, reishi, which you just mentioned, and cordyceps?
Cordyceps, yeah.
Cordyceps. And these all have different benefits.
Yes, each one is uniquely different. You want to talk a little bit about some of the benefits of them?
Yeah, what is the benefit of lion's mane?
Lion's mane is great for mental clarity. So what it's doing, it's not overnight. It starts to work on the neuroplasticity in our brains. So we have neurons firing that help us, when you're focusing, you're remembering things, there's so many things going on. Our brains are so complex. And lion's mane, what it's doing, it's helping to connect those neurons that are firing. So that way you'll be sharper, you'll remember things, you won't have that brain fog. That's really what it starts to work on. And it it also not only does that for our brains, but it helps our guts. So it's going to balance the pH and microbiome. So we'll feel less bloated, we'll feel less lethargic, thus helping our mental clarity as well, too, because, they call the stomach like the second brain. So it helps to balance all of that. And so you just wake up feeling, really refreshed, more energized. It just really helps clean out the gut and the brain.
Interesting. Now, if I take it at 10 o'clock in the morning, am I as sharp as a tack by 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Or is this like over time, I'm going to start to subtly notice difference?
So it's going to be over time. Now, everyone's bodies are a little bit different. If I started taking lion's mane today and you took it at the same time, we would notice a little bit of a difference. So, but it takes about a couple of weeks to start noticing any significant changes. But, also depends on your body too. You might be more sensitive to it than I am. So
do you feel like you're thinking smarter, or just kind of like your brain fog has kind of disappeared a little bit?
So for me, I've noticed that I have less of a brain fog in the mornings, because that's when I take it. So I'm able to get my brain firing, ready to go for the day, and that I'm just not forgetting things.
Interesting.
If I could briefly talk though on the like she was saying that there's a little bit of a difference of when you'd notice it versus when she'd notice it. So the 4 mushrooms we grow are to make the supplements are all adaptogenic. And what that means is that they're adapting to the metabolic stressors in your body to actually uproot the problem. And so it's a little bit different than like traditional medicinal things we're used to that are more about covering up a symptom. With these, everybody is so uniquely different in how they're going to notice it, simply because our biologies are a little bit different. The things you have going on in your gut are very different than the things going on in my gut. And so with that, there is a bit of a difference in how we will notice it working. But the goal of it is to return you back to a homeostasis, so like a balance within your own body.
And that was the lion's mane.
Yeah, it's lion's mane, reishi, turkey tail, and cordyceps. All 4 are adaptogenic.
Okay.
And so that is why specifically we make supplements with those 4. Because all the mushrooms we grow, the oyster mushrooms, the chestnut mushrooms, a few of the other ones, they're all anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and they're full of health benefit. But the reason that these 4 are in a class of their own is that adaptogenic quality.
Now, the turkey tail is also about inflammation reduction.
So you'll find with all these that they actually share some things. All of them are going to share anti-inflammation. Now, where the anti-inflammation is taking place is pretty specific to the different mushrooms and the adaptogenic varieties. So like with lion's mane, it's going to target predominantly the inflammation in the gut. Whereas with reishi, you're going to notice it more throughout your body. I usually think of it more like aches and pains, joints, that kind of a thing. It is the most anti-inflammatory, the reishi. And then with turkey tail, it's not only just like a prebiotic for your gut, it's actually helping clean out the gut and get rid of a lot of the inflammation throughout the entire digestive tract and system itself.
It all sounds like I want to take all of them. I mean, is that,
Yeah.
Do you do like one in the morning and breakfast and dinner, or do you take like a magic pill for all 3 blended together?
Yeah, so we do have a tri-blend, which includes lion's mane, reishi, and turkey tail. It doesn't include the cordyceps, and that's for a reason. It's really popular right now in the mushroom supplement industry. There's lots and lots of companies that are doing like a 7 blend, a 12 blend. And after you get past the 4 mushrooms, really it's fillers. And you start losing benefit. And so we could do one that have all 4, but I wanted people to still have a noticeable difference when they're using our supplements. And cordyceps is so uniquely different. The first 3 we talked about, they're at least all helping gut health. So gut health is the predominant benefit that shows up. Lion's mane, it's the bloating and inflammation. The turkey tail, it's the prebiotic like we were talking about. And reishi, it's cortisol, which is commonly known as the stress hormone.
And then the 4th one, the cordyceps, is different.
It's very different. So the cordyceps, most people take it as like a supplement for energy, actually. It can help with respiratory illnesses as well as just like chronic fatigue, things like that, because it increases blood flow and oxygen throughout the body. A lot of people even take it to work out at the gym, get more blood flow to the muscles.
So at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when I want to just fall asleep at my desk, I could just...
Yeah. And I feel like it's a lot of these are kind of misrepresented right now. So like with cordyceps, I see all the time that like it's going to replace your energy drink, and it's this, this amazing pre-workout that you'll notice immediately. Like I said, the goal is to return you to a homeostasis, a balanced body. And so with cordyceps, it's not something that you will notice the first time you take it. Some people have that sensitivity and they'll notice a little something going on. But really, like when I was utilizing that one daily, it took me about a week until I began to notice that I wasn't getting that 2 in the afternoon crash and things like that. And so, yeah.
You guys are also doing the farmer's market, as we talked about. What percentage of your business is farmer's market, people buying actual mushrooms for cooking and eating versus the supplements?
Right now, it's about 50-50. If we're getting about 50% of our customers getting the mushrooms that they're using just in a culinary, it's amazing to me how many of my customers are on one side or the other. Like I have regulars that come and get our supplements from us and are like, I can't stand eating mushrooms. I hate the idea of it. But I really believe and know that it's working for my body.
Are they tasting the mushroom when you do the supplement?
So there is a bit of a taste to it. It's not, mushrooms aren't as strong as herbs. So like we do the tinctures, the liquid extraction, it's not as strong as herbal tinctures, which kind of notoriously taste bad. They do have an earthy bite though, but it's not like, you wouldn't notice it as mushroom.
It's like one or the other. The supplement people are like,
yeah, there's a little bit of a crossover, but yeah, a lot of people, I have people that come and they'll get pounds and pounds every week because there's so many vegetarians and vegans now. And we're actually providing a food source for a lot of Apple Valley people that there's not many food options here, that they're feeding their family the mushrooms predominantly as their protein source.
Really? Interesting. And some mushrooms almost taste like meat.
So yes, mushrooms do have a very meatiness, the texture to them when they're cooked. They have to be cooked though. If you can eat them raw, but however, you're not gonna get a lot of that flavor coming out of them. You really want to saute them, grill them, some form, with some butter or oil. But the one that tastes the most meaty is going to be between lion's mane and king trumpet. They have a denseness to them and almost like a snap to them when they're cooked. And they're super versatile that when you cook it like meat, and it tastes like meat, there's really no way to tell them really apart personally. I normally can't tell like a king trumpet apart from, a piece of chicken personally to me. So it's very similar. Yeah, they're very, very meat-like. It's a great replacement. And they're full of the proteins too.
And there's some interesting recipes now with mushrooms. Oh, you would never think of in the past.
Oh yeah. So, I mean, all kinds of things. Like one of my favorites with the lion's mane is actually making crab cakes. And so, it pulls apart and shreds so well. And then you can just give it a little saute and then just use it like you would crab.
Does it taste like crab?
It's very crab-like. And so this is the funny thing, is a lot of people are surprised that I started a mushroom farm. I hated mushrooms my whole life. I actually don't like portobellos, button caps, those kinds of mushrooms still. It's so funny with these mushrooms. They have such a different kind of flavor profile and texture to them that I've really learned to love them. So I was even hesitant. It was more about the fascination of growing it than it was for me to have food for me to eat. And as I started experimenting with them and cooking them, I've grown to love them. I'm personally not a vegetarian, but I found myself like slowly, like I make a curry. I make this curry like every week. And over time, there's been less and less meat into it. And now it's just a mushroom curry. Like I prefer it over that, which is so funny because, I am not vegetarian, but the mushrooms are such an obvious transition there. And I've really learned to I love them.
Now, are you pressing the mushrooms into little cubes, or are you cutting them as a curry, as a piece of chicken, like a open for chicken?
Yeah. So with that, I mean, honestly, it's very similar to how you would cook any store-bought mushroom. You just dice it up and then saute. It's the same saute even. It's just a different flavor, different texture.
Now, how'd you guys get started? I can imagine you were like experimenting in your potting shed or in your bathtub, how did you get started in this?
It started about 3 years ago now. And it was just an idea. So like we were doing a lot of our home gardening and stuff, and we were getting into some like more holistic herbal medicine and things like that. And I actually had a friend at the time that was talking about growing mushrooms. I didn't even know you could grow mushrooms. Like I didn't know that was a thing people did.
Right.
And so he was talking a lot about that, and I found it fascinating enough that I, went down a whole online rabbit hole about that. And it just, something kind of took my fascination there. And I was telling her that I wanted to start growing some for us to experiment and try with. And I got a couple of textbooks online and just took them everywhere for the first couple months before growing a mushroom. And so I was just getting as much information as I could because there's a lot more 3 years later now online. There was some stuff. It's not like I invented the wheel, you know, but there was much, much less then. And so it was really just getting as much information as I could, even about like old school, like how they were growing button cap mushrooms. It's totally different, but the way a mushroom forms, all of that's the same information.
Interesting.
And so it was starting with that. And then from there, we decided to do our first grow. We started with this little tiny grow tent. It's called a Martha tent. A lot of people use them for just like microgreens or some things in their house. And so we started with that, and I thought that I was like, if this works, this could be a business, you know? And I kind of already have a little bit of an entrepreneurial bend. Before this, I had a carpentry business where I was making tables and stuff, and I was still doing this at that time. And I was kind of looking for an opportunity to get into a new business because I had learned a lot of the pitfalls of that. Predominantly, I knew I wanted to do something with food and food production because I wanted something people would repeatedly, you know, need and come back for and be a little bit more involved in the community. And so we start growing, and the idea was always in my head, if this works, I could have a business. And in all honesty, we just had beginner's luck. We did about 8 to 10 little tiny things, and all of them grew mushrooms, and we thought we had cracked the code, you know? And I was telling her like, and she thought it was crazy the whole time. She was like, this is not a good idea.
No, we were not thinking you were going to quit your other job. And
No, that's just not even a thought. I was like, you're just, okay, like you do your thing at home, you know, it's his little hobby.
Yeah. And so, we get those to grow, and it was a first fantastic success, and then there was lots and lots of failure after that. But after that first success, I was like, this is too much mushrooms for us to eat. It all came in at once, and I was like, well, what do we do with this? And she was like, well, if you want to have a business, I'll take them. She worked at a car dealership at the time. She's like, I'll take them to work and see if people want to buy them. And that actually like was I freaked out at that. I was like, don't do that. Like I grew these, people aren't going to want these, you know, and it would make it too real, you know? And so I forget what I did, but I went and did something else that day. And she just messages me. She's like, so I took them to work and they all sold.
What?
And I was like, wait, what? You know, it was like
$5
Yeah, a few bucks, you know, a couple little heads of, you know, some lion's mane and, you know, pieces of oyster. And everyone was like, yeah, I'll buy them. Right within 10 minutes, they were on, you know,
and then
money for them.
So then the next day she brings more, and then we didn't eat any of the mushrooms.
Yeah.
Because she sold it.
Not a small piece.
Yeah. And then that kind of started a trajectory where we just kept doing that. And it was amazing because people kept asking for them. And we were specifically growing them for us to eat them. And we just kept selling them.
Interesting. Not getting any for yourself.
No, very little. But like, to be honest, I understood like growing the mushroom much more. Like if the first few months of doing it, if somebody asked me, how do you cook this? I'd say, I don't know. Right. Like I'm growing it, you know? And so we started that way, and it was, you know, just wild. We had people like sending her messages, like coming to our house late at night. Like we were like the plug for culinary mushrooms. It was the craziest thing. And then from there, we tried to start thinking about transitioning it into something we could take to farmers markets, stuff like that. And we wildly underestimated what that would take. And so, you know, I had a couple little small, like 4 foot by 2 foot grow tents, and they were just in our spare bedroom. And I thought it was going to be enough to sustain us with an income, and it was going to be easy. And a lot of that has to do with any information on mushroom farming is so misrepresented. It's kind of viewed as this high profit, easy to make money industry right now. And those videos just keep coming out. Like I see a new one every week.
And that's not the reality.
No, not at all. Like we were telling you earlier, we work 7 days a week. On Christmas, we take a half day.
Wow.
Like, and so it's not easy. There's not time off because the mushrooms don't stop.
Sure.
They're so fast. You're going to harvest twice a day. We usually have a morning.
Twice a day.
We usually have a morning and an evening harvest.
That's incredible. I don't know any other crop that's twice a day.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and so we're still quite small, but in the beginning, we were struggling to grow 10 pounds a week. Right now, we're growing about 400 pounds a week, pretty consistently. And so it was a lot of pitfalls between now and the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of mistakes. And so there was a big moment of fear when we went from having those couple little grow tents. We were able to successfully sustain one farmer's market during that time and do it every week. And we really learned the value of consistency and building a customer basis in that time. But even then, like, we were selling out in the first 2 hours. Like, we were like, we knew we needed to grow more, but it was a tricky time in that we didn't have the finances to actually elevate the business to having a space big enough to grow. And we couldn't grow enough to elevate those finances to that with where we were at. So during this time, we decided a good thing to add to the mix was for her to quit her job and come do it full time with me while we couldn't figure all that out. And then we ended up deciding to sell our 401ks.
Wow, really cashed out.
Yeah.
Wow. All in. You're all in.
Yep. And so we were like, we believe it's going to work. And we were really excited about it. So we cashed 401ks. We cashed any stocks we had. We pretty much had back to nothing.
You were all in.
Yep. And then I remember because we, finally found a commercial space that we could do it. That's where we're at now. And we had to get like all the new equipment first and last month, all that. We liquidate everything and have all those bills. And then we're just like, all right, let's hope this works because our bank account's like $100. And so it was a lot of really learning to manage the risk and the fear and all that with it.
Right.
But we've had a lot of support from the local community. A lot of people are really excited about the mushrooms.
That's awesome. And you guys are urban farmers. You're not out in the country. You're in the middle of industrial part of town. You would never know driving by that, I thought I was going to drive into a, big mushroom awning and welcome to the mushroom farm. I didn't know what to expect, but this is very different.
Yeah, it is. To be honest, I wish it was like that. That's so much more romantic and cute. It's not as romantic to be like we're working under fluorescent lights all day and, it's this, it's really fast paced. So it's not that different from traditional farming in the sense that, we're planting, we're waiting, we're harvesting, and then it's about getting that food to where it's going in a timely manner, all that. It's a lot of the same problems as farming. It's just in fast forward.
Right.
It's so fast. Like I said, we're harvesting twice a day. The average mushroom shelf life is less than 2 weeks. So it needs to be in final destination within 48 hours of us harvesting because we like our customers to have at least a week with them, time to use them. And so a lot of it is just fixing problems very, very fast.
Sure. And on the supplement side, I mean, you guys are a California-based company. It's regulated, regulation state, but a lot of supplements are coming from China, right? You don't know what you're getting.
Yeah, so that is one of the things that I'm really passionate about actually growing the mushrooms is there's so many. It's about 90% from what I'm kind of gathering and what I'm looking into online. About 90% of our mushroom supplements are all foreign, predominantly China. And then they're packaged here by little companies. And then they're called California mushroom supplements.
Interesting.
And the problem with that is you're taking something that has different regulations or no regulations at all, and then it's brought here and you don't know what you're getting. I'm not saying that this is consistently a problem, but a number of years ago, there was a huge concern when they found disproportionate amounts of lead in lion's mane capsules, like large amounts of lead. And so like, here's something they're selling as a medicinal benefit, it's really good for your health, and actually it's going to have detrimental effects. So I find that people are really passionate about knowing where their food came from. People even like knowing who grew their food, And so with that, we just try and be very open about everything we do, very transparent. That what you're getting in the supplement you get is from the mushroom we grew, we harvested, and then we extracted it. It's not fancy, it's not complex, it's very simple. But at least it's real and we're doing all of it.
For the hobbyist that's never gonna, turn it into a business, you guys have kits.
Yeah. Grow kits, they're actually gaining popularity a lot because everybody's so fascinated by mushrooms. They're so weird, It's not like a traditional plant or anything like that. And so we sell these little 5-pound grow kits where they're essentially ready to go. All the hard stuff is done, and they get to take it and they get to be a part of the exciting part, which is actually the mushroom growing. And so,
Is it easy? Do you have to have a green thumb to?
not really.
Yes?
No. You have to have a little bit of care and intention. That's about it.
Okay.
So you can grow them right on your countertop. The thing is you just have to spray it every day, really. And so,
The little spray bottle?
yep. So mushrooms like water, moisture, humidity specifically. Like you'll see downstairs, we have humidifiers going with like 90% humidity all day, and you don't need anything like that. A spray bottle doing it a couple times a day is enough.
Interesting.
So
And then how long does it take to actually get some mushrooms popping out of the?
about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, some can be a little faster. It's a great way to, because you get to cook it after. And so you know that, you were a part of the whole thing. It's fun to make a meal for your family from the thing you grew, and it's just so unique.
And then the byproduct you could put out in your garden.
Yes, absolutely. So with the mushroom bags, this isn't the best representation, but you can kind of see here, this bottom portion here. So how we grow them is, this is oak sawdust down here. It's oak sawdust that's been colonized by mushroom mycelium, which is the growing material of the mushroom. And they've discovered that mycelium is essential for plant growth. And that oak has already been digested by the mycelium, so it's already, very close to a finished soil.
Interesting.
And so when you take this, break it up, and then use it in your garden, things like that, you get a very, very nutrient-rich soil. But beyond that, the mycelium, it's not just essential for plants to grow. They've discovered it's how plants communicate, actually. And so your garden itself will just have much more robust growth. Our garden right now at home is 100% just from the waste we produce here at the farm.
Really?
Yep. And we grow tomatoes, pumpkins, a number of herbs.
Interesting. I think there was a scene in Avatar. Wasn't there a scene in Avatar where the mitochondria or whatever it was?
Oh, yeah. In the AWA tree thing. Yeah. So that was actually inspired by those mycelial networks that we're talking about.
Yeah. Very, very cool. I understand you guys have gift cards. And you guys, how can folks find you online?
We do have a website where we sell all of our extracts. I ship them, all across all 50 states, package everything, and we sell all five of the extracts online: the lion's mane, reishi, turkey tail, cordyceps, and the blend, as well as the grow kits too. So we ship all of that on there, and we do offer gift cards that you can purchase for someone, email it to them, they just redeem it and they can check out. I also offer a lot of good discounts for like subscriptions, monthly, bi-weekly.
And what is that website?
Deepcreekmushrooms.com.
Deepcreekmushrooms.com.
Yeah.
And are you guys on Instagram too, where people can kind of watch videos and do stuff?
Yeah, we're on Instagram, Facebook, and then our website. We have a lot of good information on there as well. You can also find us just a quick Google search too. We come right up.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You can find us in Redlands right now predominantly. We're at a local grocery store called Gerard's. It's an awesome little local-owned grocery store. We're also at the Redlands Oyster Cult, which is a fantastic restaurant. And beyond that, we're in 5 different farmers markets locally. You can find us at Victorville every Thursday. You can find us at Terra Vista and Rancho Cucamonga on Saturday. On Sunday, we're in Rim of the World, which is the Arrowhead area. We're at a farmer's market. Actually, right now, we have somebody there. And then on Wednesday, you'd be able to find us at Chino Hills.
Nice.
Yep. And during the summertime, we're also in Big Bear. So actually 4 markets now. But yeah.
Yeah, and I always update that list too. So it's always changing online too.
Gotcha.
So.
Well, Levi and Kalynn Mobley, thank you so much for being our guests on the road.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And we want to thank our sponsor, Opus Us Grow. Be sure to tune in next time for On the Road.